Hello everybody, I'm Paul Mount, this is my world of stuff. This is my cat called Rosie. Typical. How are you all? Hope you're all well. Saturday night. I just thought I would do a quick update video just to say hello. And because I thought that it's time I humanise myself a little bit. I've done quite a few videos which just tend to be me reviewing things and talking about stuff, but you don't really know very much about me. Not that there's a great deal to know. But I thought I'd just come online Saturday night just to update and tell you a couple of things that are coming up soon on this channel, if you're interested. So yeah, my name's Paul. I live just outside Cardiff in South Wales, where tonight it is wet and miserable and wintry, despite the fact it's the middle of March. But a bit of snow today, unusually. And yes, I know. I say this is Rosie, she's a pest, aren't you? You're a pest. She always turns up if I'm writing or if I'm doing something on the computer. She is here. But she's lovely, really. So, what am I talking about? I don't know, I'm just rambling. I thought I'd do a video just to sort of say hello properly, but I know I did an introductory video, but I didn't know where I was going with this then, if it was going to run or last. And I decided, during lockdown, like most of us, I've been, excuse me, it's so loud up there. I'm going to sort out the sound issues. Yeah, one other thing I wanted to say is apologies for the sound quality on a couple of the recent videos. I had an issue, a microphone issue, which I wasn't aware of when I was recording. It sounds ridiculous, but I would plug in my microphone and record, and then I couldn't play back what I had recorded to see how it sounded as like a test thing. And I didn't realise I had to go into the settings to make the speakers on the laptop the external speakers rather than the... Oh, it's all very boring. Anyway, it turned out that a couple of times there was a sort of a buzzing effect on the videos, which is very unprofessional. But then I'm an unprofessional kind of guy. So as I said, I started doing these videos because I watched a lot of YouTube content, and I'm watching some content during lockdown. And I thought I'd like to have a go at doing a little channel. I don't like calling them channels. To me, channels are like, you know, the BBC, where you have a run of different programs. Just doing a couple of minute video every now and again doesn't strike me as being a channel, but there we are, it's the world we live in. So I thought I'd have a go at doing something, and I, you know, being a big fan of film and television and books and media and stuff, I thought I would just do something which was sort of review based. But I realised that a lot of the stuff I've done has been review based, but there's not much personality to it yet. So I thought I'd just do a little video now just to tell you whatever you know, just to sort of tell you a little bit about myself, who I am and what I'm interested in. As I said, I'm Paul. Obviously this is my world of stuff, and I live just outside Cardiff born and bred, but moved outside with family a few years ago just to get away from the hustle and bustle of the big city. And I'm a big fan of good storytelling, really. I was going to say genre stuff, but a lot of stuff I like isn't genre, it's just good drama. I'm not a big fan of British sort of detective dramas and police things and these slightly mundane things that British TV turns out. So I tend to watch a lot of American TV, which is more to my taste, with a lot of the fantasy shows that they do, and some good comedy shows. I'm a big fan of British TV, but I don't like a lot of the stuff that they do. I'm not a big fan of reality shows and cooking shows and dancing shows, and those are the sort of current obsessions with the great British public, and it's just not my thing. My big passion, I suppose, is Doctor Who, always has been. Been watching Doctor Who since the 60s with William Hartnell. He was in the programme, he wasn't watching it with me. And although I can't remember the early years of Doctor Who, I was clearly a fan because I went to see the first film with starring Peter Cushing in 1965. And I wouldn't have gone if I hadn't been familiar with seeing the Daleks on TV. But my greatest memory to Doctor Who really from 1970 onwards, when John Pertwee joined, and I became a proper fan, as it were, in the 70s then, when I joined fan clubs and became involved creatively. And that's why I do the stuff I do now. As I mentioned before, I write for Starburst magazine. If you're interested in seeing any of my writing, go to the Starburst website, www.starburstmagazine.com. Have a scroll through. My reviews pop up here and there. Magazine itself's on hold at the moment. I'm not entirely sure when it's due back. And I do a podcast with my friend Scott, which is not associated with... The podcast is associated with Starburst, but this channel isn't. I must point that out. This is all me. Don't do that, Rosie, it's a bit rude. So yeah, so I just thought I'd have a go at doing something like this because it seems like fun. People seem to have good fun doing these things. I'm a big fan of physical media, which is why I've done a few unboxings and collection run-throughs and things. But I'm not here to monetize this thing. I'm not here to go on Patreon with long videos. I'm not here to sell merchandise. I'm just here to do this, these things just for fun and for just random bit of entertainment. I've always sort of been a bit sceptical when you see people on television saying their job was a YouTuber, and I thought, what sort of a job is that? But I understand it's the way things work these days, and people can, make a living from doing this stuff, and that's absolutely fine. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm just here as a creative outlet, because during the lockdown, obviously my options are slightly limited in terms of what I can do outside. And as I say, the magazine's on hold, so writing things aren't that prevalent at the moment. And I just, to avoid, I don't want to be the person who during the lockdown just sits and watches TV all day. I know most people have done that and binged box sets, and I've done some of that myself, but I can't just spend day after day in front of the box. I need to do something with my brain. So this is why I'm doing this, really, is just to sort of provide a further outlet for my thoughts and opinions, if you're interested. So as I said, Doctor Who is my big passion. And one of the things I will be doing in the next week or so, and I'm probably going to do it in 2 parts, is a Doctor Who ranking thing, looking at my favourite actors to play the Doctor over the 57, 58 years it's been around. Honestly, Rosie. I'll be doing this by my own sort of algorithm, if you like. I'm not just picking favourite actors, because I think if you're trying to sort of assess the Doctors, you have to look at not just the person playing the Doctor, you have to look at the whole era, the scripts, the quality of all the acting, the people who are the companions, the adversaries, the monsters, if you like. All that comes into play, because it would be easy to say, I don't like this Doctor, I don't like that Doctor, because you don't like that actor, but you might like some of the stories. So I'm just looking at it in those terms, the whole creative package that makes Doctor Who, not just the actor who plays the Doctor. And I do think that everybody who's played the Doctor, and I do include Jodie Whittaker, for you naysayers out there, I think they've all brought something of themselves to the part, because they have to. It's such an all-encompassing, demanding role. And I think all of them, even the ones that in the years past I might not have rated, I think they've all brought something to it. But many of them, several of them, have been let down by the material they've had to work with. So you've had some great actors who have not been able to fulfill their potential because they had bad material, simple as that. And that's happened a bit fairly recently, but again, that's not something we could go into here. I think Rosie's on the way. So I'll be doing that, and I'll probably run it in 2 parts because it'll be quite a long video. And I think some of you might be surprised by my number 1 choice. As I say, I'm a long-term fan of Doctor Who, particularly. No, I won't say particularly, because I don't want to sort of give the game away. I don't know that all the Doctors have their fans and their supporters, so I'm not going to be here to insult anybody or call anybody crap, because I don't think that's fair. Doctor Who fans do tend to do that a lot, particularly at the moment. These ridiculous insults that you see thrown at the current cast and production team, which are just infantile, to be honest, and fly in the face of the ethos of Doctor Who, the never cruel or cowardly, be kind sort of attitude that the show has really always tried to express. And I think Doctor Who fans have forgotten that in their ire about the fact that there's a lady Doctor and a scriptwriter they don't like very much. But again, that's a whole other thing. So I'll be doing that in 2 parts, just going through my rundown of the Doctors whose era I have found most enjoyable, not just favourite Doctors, because that's a bit crass and obvious and simplistic. I think there's more to it than just the favourite actor. It's about the whole package of what that era entailed in terms of story development, character development, the look of the programme, how it was made. And I'm not going to sort of hold that to the detriment of the earlier Doctors, whose obviously their shows look a bit less slick than the ones we get today. But it's all part of the... Anyway, I'll explain more when I actually do the videos, probably in the next week or so. Beyond that, just random reviews, bits and pieces. As I mentioned previously, I want to do a bit on Day of the Triffids, because that's my favourite book. It's been brought to the screen 3 times in a 1960s film, 1981 6-part serial with John Deteen, and a curious 2-part sort of film production that the BBC showed, must be about 10, 11 years ago now, which starred Dougray Scott and Amelia Fox, I think, was in it as well. It was odd. But I'm going to explain why I love the story so much, why I love the book, and why I love all these versions of it, even the ones that aren't as good as the one that's really good. And you probably know what the really good one is. Film reviews, book reviews, chats generally. It'd be nice to just engage with people a bit more. As I say, I don't have a lot of subscribers at the moment because I'm not here to sort of... I understand that you can monetize by having more and more subscribers, and that's, you know, that would be lovely if I got lots of subscribers, but I'm not here to make money out of this. It's just a creative outlet. So like and subscribe and all that. I must get one of those things that comes up on the screen. As I said, I'm just learning the technicalities of putting these videos together, and my thanks particularly to my friend Scott Holmes, who's coached me into the basics of editing, and I'm sort of learning as I go along. Hopefully these videos are looking a little bit better every time. Now I've got a title sequence, and I've got a new end title sequence, which you'll see in this video. And again, particular thanks to Kevin Mullen for doing that brilliant animated opening sequence, which I'm still tampering with in terms of the soundtrack, but I think it's a great opening sequence. And my sincere thanks to Kevin for doing that. I know it was a time-consuming thing to do, but it is much appreciated. So yeah, put down a comment if you've got any comments you want to say about your favourite doctors, but please don't get into a slanging match about Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, because I'm just not interested. Beyond that, have a good weekend. I've got my first COVID jab tomorrow, which I'm hugely looking forward to. It'll be like having a superpower. And again, if you're a COVID denier or a vaccine denier, don't go there, because I'm not interested. But I want to be friends. So yeah, let me know, any comments about your favourite Doctor Who's, why you like a certain Doctor, why you don't like a certain Doctor, any recommendations, any films you've seen, any TV shows you've seen. This week I've just tonight finished watching an animated series on Netflix called Pacific Rim: The Black. You may remember the Guillermo del Toro film Pacific Rim, which came out, I can't remember when it came out, years ago, about the giant Jaeger robots fighting off lizard-like kaiju, which was then followed by a ropey sequel called Pacific Rim Uprising, which Del Toro didn't direct. I think he produced it. This animated series occurs somewhere within the timeline of those two films, and it's actually rather good. That's on Netflix now, and I just started watching a series called The One, which has appeared on Netflix yesterday. It's Saturday when I'm recording now, the 13th of March, and it's appeared yesterday. 8-part series by the creator of shows like Misfits and Merlin and Atlantis, and it's about an algorithm. It's set 5 years in the future, although you'd be hard pressed to tell from watching it, about an algorithm which allows people to identify, and if they choose to, meet their soulmate, the person who they're destined to fall in love with and who is destined to fall in love with them. Sounds a bit similar to Soulmates, an anthology series that was on Amazon Prime a few years ago. It's similar in terms of concept only. That was an anthology series. Every episode was different. I love an anthology series, so I enjoyed that series. This is more of a thriller with that sort of the science fiction thing deep into the background. It's a bit like one of those ITV crime thrillers you get on a Monday night in terms of its look. It's not high-tech in any way. As I say, it's supposed to be set slightly in the future, but there's no real signs of that. But it's quite intriguing. I've watched the first 2 episodes, and there's only 8, so I'll probably get through it. I will also recommend, before I go, a series which arrives on Sky next week called The Flight Attendant, which stars Kaylee Cuoco from The Big Bang Theory. I've had a chance to see that in advance. It's again, it's 8 episodes, really very cleverly put together, very slick American thriller series about a flight attendant played by Kaylee Cuoco, Cassie Bowden, who bit of a good time girl. She likes a good time. She's an alcoholic, but doesn't really acknowledge that until sometime later. She's a party girl. She likes, having a good time. She goes out dancing and drinking and meeting guys and just enjoying herself like any young woman's entitled to do. But at a layover, as they call them, I think, in Bangkok, she meets she arranges a date with one of the passengers on the plane, and wakes up in the morning and finds him dead with his throat slit next to her. And the whole 8 episodes sort of is her investigating what's happened, because she knows she didn't do it, and she uncovers this web of intrigue and conspiracy that stretches across the continent. It's really good. It's not a comedy series. It's got moments of humour, but I was particularly struck by Kaylee Cuoco's performance, because if you're a Big Bang fan, you're so used to seeing her as Penny, the ditzy Penny, But here she's got some really gutsy, dramatic material to do, and it's a fantastic performance. She deserves an Emmy because it's outstanding. And it's been renewed for a second series, which I'm pleased, because it does end in a way that suggests there could be a second series, and there will be. So that's coming to Sky One and Now TV next Thursday, I think. And I'd highly recommend that. Right, apologies for being dishevelled again, by the way. As I say, not doing very much at the moment, so shaving is not a priority. So anyway, I'll leave it there because it's Saturday night. Hope you're having a good weekend, and look out for some more video content coming soon. As I said, leave a message, like, subscribe, all that sort of caper, and I will see you all soon. Bye.